Belleville Area District Library Board will please come to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okie dokie. Our secretary is not here. She has an excused absence today. I will ask our director, Mary Jo Suchy, to take the roll.
Fleming,
Here.
Hughes Grubbs,
Excused absence.
Jackson Smith,
Here?
Sharon Peters,
Here.
Linda Priest,
Here.
Tanya Stoudemire,
Here.
Joy Chahavitz,
We will put that one on hold. Our next item on the agenda is we have a quorum and we can proceed with our business. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And I will.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda for April 8th.
There has been a motion
Second.
and a second, moved by Priest and supported by Stoudemire, that the agenda be approved. Just take a quick second, everybody, to look over it and make sure we don't have any other, every now and then we have a little typo or something. I don't see one. I think we've got our committees right and everything ready. So seeing no comments, I will move for the vote. All those in favor of approval of the agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying no. We have no negative votes. And the agenda is approved. We can move to item 4, which is the approval of the March 11th board meeting minutes. And those minutes are in your packet right here behind the agenda. They are complete as usual.
Madam Chair, I
Yeah.
motion that we approve the meeting minutes for March 11, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion by Stoudemire and a support by Jackson Smith. And again, they're complete. You've had, hopefully everybody's had a chance to read them. And we will then move forward with the vote. All those in favor of approval of the March 11th, 2025 meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Signify by saying no. I hear no opposition, so we will, we have approved the minutes and we can move on to agenda item 5, which is public comments. And I neglected to mention that in our public, we have another member of our staff, which is Hillary. So we have Hillary and Rosemary who are here. Do either of you have comments?
No.
I think Hillary's here to help us understand one of our agenda items a little better. Having no member of the public who wishes to speak, we will move on to the library government accounting software. I have a feeling we'll hear from you now, Hillary. I don't know, you might have something else you're gonna talk about. However, it's a big deal. Mary Jo has given us pre-information. Aha, we knew it. See, she's a whole new woman.
Sorry.
Oh,
She's in retirement time now.
She's a whole.
There's somebody outside who's interested in libraries, being in a mess.
Yes, right. I just told
Encourage them to
everybody.
come to the Friends.
I just told everybody that you would have a lot of good information for us on stuff on our agenda, and we are now on this software package. And our finance committee did look at this and comment on it. The finance committee is Tanya and Joy. And then I also, as ex officio, looked at these materials. It's a big change and a big financial investment, but seems to be a worthwhile one. So between Mary Jo, do you want to handle this discussion or?
Yes, the accounting software we currently use is reaching the end of its life. The company will no longer be supporting it at the end of 2026. So it's lived a good life. It's been a good workhorse for us, but it's definitely long in the tooth. So that's why we looked at three new systems to replace.
That was my main question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had questions. I looked at this.
We do government accounting, so it has to be specific types of software that we to do that. So we were looking at something that could assist us with our accounts payable, general ledger, bank reconciliation. The new systems we looked at are all similar. They're a cloud-based system. So that, they're responsible for the, we don't have to be responsible anymore for a file server and security and all of that. They are. And it will allow us to do better. I think it will allow us to do better reporting. I think it'll be easier when it's time to do the audit to be able to have things more easily available. So it's definitely a lot of improvements for us. Going from that it's almost like going from horse and buggy to a car. So in some ways, so it's definitely a huge leap forward. So the price does kind of reflect that because of that. We looked at 3 companies, and the company that we are recommending is the low bid, but it also there are other libraries that use it. The city of Belleville uses it, so I feel like it's coming to us, with other people who have vetted it.
Tried it out.
And like that, so.
Right.
My daughter's the assistant director of the library, and they chose us too. So they went through that whole process.
So
How long is the transition? Whoever, we decide on. How long
their
is that
timeline,
transition?
they told us the transition was probably 4 or 5 months.
Oh, okay.
And
And
that
the
was another thing,
second
we're
page-
kind of looking at how to time it,
Yeah.
This second page in here gives a little idea of some of the training and time.
So they come on site, they do training on site. So the conversion costs are expensive, but then the ongoing costs conversion costs for all 3 systems were similar, but the ongoing costs of them were way less than all the other systems.
And they're a local.
They're a Michigan company, yes.
I think the city was, when they chose it, they thought that was a good thing.
Okay.
Is there a forecast of how long this software how long they'll support this software?
This will be ongoing because it's in the cloud and they'll just update it. It's not gonna be the same kind of, it's a different kind of.
It's a 21st century thing, in the cloud.
Right.
I just saw on the news, the Office of Management of Personnel has all of their retirement records under
Yeah.
analog and
in
a lining
boxes.
limestone mine that they dug out.
Yeah.
In boxes,
saw that
it's
too.
analog.
Paper.
So this is,
And this
the
will,
horse and buggy
this
is
will allow
a
us-
lot better than
and this will allow
US
us
government.
it'll be easier for us to do our reporting for the audit.
Yeah.
And moving forward, so.
Yeah.
Hillary, did I miss anything? Okay.
Plus this, as you will see in your packet, more trees were killed for this issue. We have more pieces of paper to give us background, but the thoroughness is worthwhile because this is a big deal. It's a big deal that I certainly wouldn't understand if they didn't give me a lot of background.
Mary showed that annual fee includes, you know, the updates and.
Includes updates, yeah.
Well, it's like the latest and greatest version.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no hardware, is there? It's just
Our
all
software.
software. I think the city got hardware, I mean, actual computers all that too. Whatever. Their stuff was probably really good.
You talked to someone at the city?
Yeah, I talked to, Steve Jones about it,
Okay.
assistant city manager, yeah.
Okay.
So I asked them what they were using.
Computer has it.
Sumter has it too, yeah. I think a lot of people, obviously, I mean, since a lot of people are going with it, I feel like we're a good company.
Sounds like a pretty
Yeah.
solid,
It's really cost effective. too,
Yes,
compared to-
yeah. Compared to the other.
if it's being used that much across so many different government facilities.
It must be very user friendly then. Seems like everybody is.
Mhm.
is using it.
Do you see this page? There's not page numbers, but I don't know, kind of in the middle, and they give kind of a history of all this
Oh, the
stuff.
DOS based.
Yeah,
Yeah,
DOS and then to
Yeah.
net,
yeah,
2000, yeah, this timeline,
yeah.
which all of this has happened
Right.
as I remember, yeah, boy.
That's nice to have
It is nice to
for
have
people who.
who don't
struggle
understand
stuff.
anything. Yeah.
Is that what happened to me in 1986?
You're right, right, I'm thinking, I remember starting computerized our offices in 1996, and that's a whole era that we're working. And so the cloud, I've kind of been retired since the cloud has been the thing.
Well, on this chart, our current software is up in the, is pervasive software, so just to give you an idea of where we're at, currently.
Yeah, I was in the pervasive era. My head is still there.
I can still remember getting my first email address.
Yeah,
And the person telling me, you really have to be careful how you pick this, because you're gonna have this for a long time. I went, oh, well, you know, I didn't really think, I really am gonna have this for a long time.
right, and remember, companies had their own little emails, you know, they set up their own little internal communication systems, so when your whole business could go on email that everybody had, oh man, it's a big deal. Now we're in a whole new era. Well, I was pleased with even the discussion that I saw from the finance committee, and heard through Mary Jo, what Tanya and Joy had to say about it. I think we've covered those things in here. Are there other questions? And this is something that that needs a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve purchasing the BSNA software implementation.
We'll second that.
There's a motion by Chehevitz and a support by Priest to approve the BSA software acquisition. And if we are finished with discussion, we can move to a vote. I don't hear any more, so therefore, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed by saying no. I hear no negative votes, so this is unanimously passed, and it's a big deal, but I think it does. Our software catches up with our building. We have a 21st century building, and now we have.
21st century software.
Yes, yes, yes.
Who's second?
Pardon?
I did, yes.
Seconded by. Priest.
Just looking around, you said it.
So we have accomplished item 6, and we move to item 7, which is our committee reports. And I don't know that committees have been meeting this month, but if there's any issues or concerns or questions from the perspective of the chairs of the committee, this would be the time to bring them up. We start with the building committee. Joy?
I don't have it,
That's you.
because I've been here, but Mary Jo might.
We did have a visit from Matt Ratzel from O'Neill Construction. He came out and visited with the vendor who's gonna be doing the automated door openers for the bathrooms and the electrician who's going to be assisting with that. So they looked at all of the bathrooms. I recommended to them that they do it, we're closed to the public on Friday, April 25th for our staff and service day, that would be a good day for them to work on this if they could, if they had availability that day. So hopefully that'll just kind of make it easier for everybody, so.
Have they responded?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
they're still working on that part, so.
Was there a time frame of what it would take for them to do that, Jeff?
At least a day, it might even slip into a second day, but they're hoping to get it all done in one day.
Okay. So that would be a pretty good day.
Yeah.
You could do it.
Mhm.
Was there any, I didn't look at you in this, I do have the question, is there any update on the vape detectors?
He discussed that with me a little bit too, and that's another person that asked me to come do that, so.
But
Yeah,
that's,
but that's on the,
that's a little
that's on
further
his,
down the way.
yeah, that's on his
Okay.
slate too, so.
Okay.
And then, he talked with the electrician a little bit too about the, flexible light outside, that's, he's part of that. Could be part of that group, so since he was already on site for this. We have a leak again, or hopefully it's been repaired. The driving rain we had the other day, it was leaking, looks like from the green roof area into the Cozad room. So, the roofers came out a few days after that, but after everything was all dry, so it was hard for them to tell like where the leak
Right.
possibly could have been coming from, so they sealed some things where they suspected it could have been, so we'll just keep an eye on it. And
Was there any damage from with the
No.
water?
fortunately, there was no damage we caught at the time. We
Okay,
got
good.
the
And
ceiling
it,
tile moved and, yeah.
it was in the Cozad room
Mm-hmm.
and it was I know staff noticed it.
Yeah.
It was noticed right
Well,
away.
yeah. Jason was in there.
We don't have
moving
to-
furniture. so-
We don't have to get umbrellas out.
No
to
umbrellas
put
this
over
time.
that.
Yeah.
Really
I feel-
has rained a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're lucky, other parts of the country, my
Right,
Lord have
yeah.
mercy.
Yeah, so hopefully they were able to, you know, in their expert opinion, probably know where things generally leak, so hopefully they got it. Hillary, you were here when they came, didn't? It's, okay,
They showed me one of the spots, I could see how rain could have gotten in,
okay,
but, they were talking about pinhole, holes in there's some flashing underneath the windows in the tea room.
Um,
So they
Oh,
were thinking it might have blown up under there. Another spot is actually on the second, like the top roof, where some of the rubber might have had little holes in it, so they repaired up there too, so.
and they came out here on a nice clear day.
No, it was raining when they were here,
Really?
but it wasn't leaking,
but it wasn't like
yeah.
Uh,
Another
The wind
mystery.
has to blow a certain way.
Yeah, the rain's gotta come in a certain direction. Yeah, exactly. And it may only happen once a year, you know? Frustrating.
So we won't know whether it worked
until
until it rains again the right way.
In perfect direction. Way that
Well,
rain's
probably the way we say it is we won't know if it doesn't work until it happens again, but hopefully it won't happen.
Right.
So we'll see. So, anything else on building? Any questions from the board about anything about the building? I asked my vape question and I see it's not in the director's report anyway.
Still pending.
So if it's okay with you, Joy, and I'm sure it will be, we'll move on to the bylaws committee.
No report at this time.
Okay, that's actually a kind of heavy lifting thing that is gonna come up this year. So we will hear from bylaws at some point. Finance committee, Tanya, do you have anything in particular? What about the finances, global finances, Tanya? Can you solve that for us?
I went,
What the stock market, fix that for us?
Tanya is very talented.
or my personal finance.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, we won't load you with too much.
Can't find the globe.
It's a little good.
Yeah, this day started off well and then it ended up bad. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And it's gonna be crazy every day, all the time, everywhere. Oh. And speaking of committees that'll have some heavy lifting to do, our outreach committee, I'm gonna ask our new outreach committee chair to talk about a possible activity that we might engage in. Maria?
Yeah, so I met with the three staff members here, Mary Jo, Hillary, and Nikki, what was that? Last week, about a week ago, it was about a week ago. Just because I wanted to get an idea of their vision, where, you know, where they felt what direction I should go in terms of outreach. So I'll be in contact with you. I wanted to meet with them first, you know, go straight to the source before I then have a conversation with you about what the next steps would be. One of the things that Mary Jo mentioned was that, and thank you for sending it. It was very perfect for the start of the 21st century, the strategic plan. It was from like 2000, just as a sample, you know, before this building was even constructed. So it gives me an idea of what it is that we need to do to get input from the community, to see, you know how we can best serve the community, and also attract those groups who, like you mentioned at the last meeting, know that the library's here, says it's beautiful, but just don't come in for whatever reason. So it's gonna be boots on the ground. I'm gonna be wrapping up my semester, so once the summer's here, I'll be able to, you know, just dive into that. So
an
because they
update,
volunteered to help too, so we appreciate that also.
yeah, I did that, an update of the strategic plan is a
Yeah.
really great outreach, kind of, you know, because it really is the way we look at ourselves in the context of the whole.
And the other one was done really well. It was done, the other one that was actually done was done really well. They reached so many different segments of the community, with focus groups and things like that. We'll see.
Great.
But yeah, it's time, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I'd like to read some young professionals, like the woman I brought in here that didn't even have a library card and has lived here for 10 years. Those people.
Yeah.
How can we serve them?
Right.
Because I think they may not think there's something here for them, and there really is. There's so much here.
Yeah,
So I'd like to work with you on that.
Yeah, and we actually mentioned that at the meeting, you know, what is it, you know, not necessarily that the library can do, what is it that you need? And then we can figure out how the library can serve them.
And there was another group, my neighbors, they're young professionals, don't have any kids or anything. But when our power goes out a lot, you know, and they didn't think about coming to the library. They went to Gloria Jean's when it was there. It's not there anymore. So now I went over there and said, you know, Gloria Jean's isn't there anymore. So if the power goes out, go to the library. But things like that, you know, and make this be a place where because a lot of people work from home.
Yeah.
And they have to find someplace. And
Mhm.
so I really think that might be something we can somehow put out there.
Yeah.
You know, this is a place where there's some quiet areas you can work. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, what was the traffic like when there's a power outage?
oh, huge.
Yeah.
You should come, and especially if it's cold and
Yeah.
the power outage,
Uh-huh.
people need a
Yeah.
computer, do they need?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Parents aren't here.
It's a real community center.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's like warming center.
Yeah, the fireplace room is literally the warming room. There's
usually-
people sitting all
We usually
over.
set up tables, we usually throw open the cozy room and set up tables and with electricity in there. So
Wow.
But that's
Plug
good
in
to
a-
know for people. I
Yeah,
think
it
people
is.
don't know that.
Yeah.
I found people in my own housing subdivision that I don't see that often, but when the power's out, I'll see them over here. And we have a little neighborhood meeting right here
Oh,
in the library.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very useful for that, but I'm sure that there are people that don't really know, and when you said about professional people, in my own neighborhood, you know, it's people that work someplace else and then
Yeah.
come home, or if they don't work from home, but they may not be connected about where to go for stuff
Or
like
sometimes
that.
people will come here just to have a different change of scene, they might be working from home, or they need to be able to concentrate better.
Yeah.
And they'll come here for a couple hours.
I know, I do.
I know a lot of people that do that. I'm very happy that they're finding that use for our building.
And I remember during COVID, when I had to work from home, it's hard, you know, you get distracted doing other things, you know, like next thing I know, I'm doing laundry.
Need
instead
another
of-
coffee.
So,
Play with
you know,
my cats for a while.
when you're someplace where it's like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, and then you can really focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. That, I'm really excited by that, and I know you have a lot you bring to that, Maria, so I'm really happy you're looking at taking that on. Thank you. Back to you, Linda. Personnel committee probably isn't.
Not at
doing
this
too much
time.
Right now.
No.
Okay. And, Dan, policy committee?
Reports.
Okay. And we don't have our art committee chair to report, but we do have a new art display in our temporary display area, and it's the student art. It's the art from the high school students, which is one of our annual, you know, we have two annual in the cycle, two displays of annual and homegrown or artists, and that's the schools in the spring, and then in the fall, the the BACA art exhibit, the winners and those who will allow their things to be displayed here come. And so I think it's really important, not just to expose people to art, but also to expose people to the talents right here in our community. So do take time to look at that downstairs. I happened to stop in that day that Michelle was putting that up, and we're just fortunate. We have a really talented town. We have a lot of people, a lot of talent in this town, and we're fortunate to have, on a volunteer basis, we're fortunate to have the help from Michelle to do that. She does a professional job because she's a professional lady. So on her behalf, we've just had the art committee report. Anything else, Mary Jo, something I forgot, or Hillary? Is there anything on that you two think? Art,
Because there was going to be a gap between
Oh,
the
yeah.
end of the student art display and the next artist, single artist display, which would start in end of June. There's been a gap of about 3.5 weeks, and so we're planning to fill it with a library staff art display.
oh, wow.
So quite a few
That's
artists.
fun. And we have so
So-
many creative staff people in this library. Our, Noelle Douglas, no longer works here, but Mary Jo has assured me she's still part of our Belleville Area District Library family, and she has left behind enough work that we can use some of hers to go on that display. And I'm actively trying to badger various staff people who I know are creative. And we're gonna see some of Nikki's creations in here in a minute, so. Down there moaning. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad that our library and our art communities collide. That's wonderful. It's a wonderful connection.
And that's in June, did you say?
I believe it will go up the last week of May.
Last week.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you, Hillary. Okay, now I think we're ready to move on to item 8. which is the exciting item on our agenda every month. It is the approval of accounts payable. Those of us who participate in moving the checks along, which Tanya does sometimes, I do a lot, and Mary Jo does, and our staff does. These aren't brand new things to see, but these are the kind of things we have to spend money for. But it's always good, and our board has always been asking questions about different stuff you see on here that you don't recognize what it's for.
So maternally is the books and materials library of things.
The what?
I believe that that is, it's the collection
Oh.
for patrons with memory issues.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Another-
the maternally.
Maternally,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Maternally. That's an interesting, anyway.
Is the sprinkler system that's towards the bottom, is that the internal building sprinkling system?
No, that's the lawn sprinkler system. We pay them up front and then they come, and they've scheduled that for the end of
So does
end of
that,
April.
what do they charge it and then flush it out in the fall? Is that for the whole year or is that just
It's probably is that restart it?
This is to restart it.
oh, just to restart it?
Yeah. If it will ever become spring.
You won't need it for a long time.
It's supposed to spring.
What is the last item there? The form stack? What is
We have software that we use so that people can apply for a library card online. And they can upload, it's a secure system, so they can upload a copy of their driver's license to us. And then we'll mail them their card.
My goodness me. The 21st century library.
You never have to leave your home.
They really always come to the library for every darn thing anyways.
And we can use it for other things too. We've used it sometimes for some internal staff surveys and different forms where people can. Give us some,
Multiple
yeah,
uses.
yeah.
Make a motion to approve accounts payable.
Moved by Chehevitz. Seconded by Studemeyer, that the accounts payable be approved.
Mary Jo, quick question. Will we have to pay Wilcox again in the fall?
I believe we've been them twice a year, yeah.
Twice a year? Okay. Okay.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of how.
Kinda how it works,
Yeah.
We have to start it up.
And you have to have them come back and flush it out.
Yeah.
And agrees one rising.
So, there's a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the accounts payable, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. No negative votes. The accounts payable has been approved. Now we are officially to the director's report. Lately, it has been that we dip into the director's report when we have the building committee report, but. So we have already covered some of the directors. We have a lot more and a lot of interesting things that Mary Jo has shared with us, and then of course, all the interesting attachments she has, which we have some issues we want to discuss with those attachments. So, Mary Jo, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, just very briefly, we have not received any official communications from Wayne County regarding penal fines. It does look like the County Ways and Means Committee did have a meeting about the issue, so I know it's something that they are working on, so. And I was at a function where I met our Wayne County Commissioner, and Alan Wilson, and he is aware of it.
Alan Wilson, and Mary Jo also followed up with them
An
in
email.
email. Did you hear anything back?
Yeah.
That was just last week or so.
All right, so the big thing here is the defunding of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. You've probably seen it on the news, and I forwarded you guys the stuff that's in the board pack that explains it a little bit better. Basically, an executive order was issued on March 14th to call for cuts to the IMLS. And then on Tuesday, April 1st, the entire staff was placed on administrative leave, basically making it impossible for them to,
Do anything.
process any library grant funding.
Just like every other organization.
Right. This organization is legally established and funded by Congress. It's, the money is there, that's been approved by Congress to, for these services. This affects us through, the Michigan E-Library, or the MEL and MELCAT. So we have a lot of, with a statewide interlibrary loan service that we depend upon. And we have a lot of databases that we depend on through this funding. We make heavy use of it, very practical nuts and bolts things. We have Learning Express, which has like resume and cover letter assistance, or someone is coming in and they need to redo a resume for a job, and they're not, especially if they're not that practiced at doing it, we can help them with this product. GED test prep, nursing prep, test prep, electrician, plumbing exams, things like that. ACT, SAT, computer, video computer courses, early literacy courses, learning resources like Britannica and World Book for kids. Car repair guides, so just a wealth of online information.
It's not
search
fluff.
databases. Yeah,
No, and it's cost effective
Very
for them to be
cost-effective.
able to support sharing it with all the libraries, as opposed to every library having to try and do all this stuff.
we
We
could
would
not,
never
we could
be
not
able to do
create
it.
this.
And grants, huge amount of grants that have,
Yeah.
if you know about the TALK program, that's been funded by IMLS.
Which
monies.
we are part of.
Right.
So,
Which was an early literacy text program.
so there is, basically, that Mel and Melcat are funded through $3.4 million in federal funding and $1.4 million in state funding, so there is a state piece to this as well. I don't know what the next steps are as far as timeline for any of this, or what they're looking at, or what they're going to do, if they're gonna prioritize, like, what are they gonna cut, basically? The state attorney general has filed suit with, I think, about 19 or 20 other states. To help us. Filed an emergency restraining order.
Yeah, but
ALA has, well, I guess I didn't send it to the board. There's a show, maybe you sent it, show up, ALA, I think it's ala.org/show up, which is recommendations of things we can do. If you have 5 minutes, if you have 15 minutes which are basically reaching out to your political appointees, state, and federal, but mostly federal, to get them, to let them know your feelings.
That 5 calls is very good if you need to call your representatives. Put in 5 calls and Google and it takes you to it. You put in your zip code, they give you who you're supposed to call. Really, really easy.
I mean, and it's, in this situation, we're talking about libraries, but it'd be those 5 calls, you'd be calling about
anything.
a bazillion
A whole
issues right now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're library board members, so
Yeah.
we have an official advocacy
Right.
responsibility. And,
Right.
and in a way, we are the ones that can advocate our employees, our public employees, and are not as free to speak out as we are. It's a very important role for us, but there are so many very important things. But this one is really, if there's any savings for the government in this, it's a definitely penny wise, pound foolish, because the service to the people, there are just those people who don't believe
We'll be paying
that.
more for less service, basically.
There are those people who don't believe that government has any function, but for people to get services, that's what we really do need to have some cooperative ways to operate. And this one is a very cooperative, all these services that they help meld together so that libraries around the state can share with each other and so that they can share all kinds of databases with everybody. I mean, to cut that out.
They don't want government to support it, they want it to be privatized, then you have to pay
Yeah.
for it
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah, and it has to, and it's
Yeah.
run, you know, in,
And they want it
First.
controlled so that there's
Mhm.
no DEI, no.
what kind of information is available? Yeah, they want it.
That's not what a library is.
No, and it's not what,
No.
not what a free society
No.
is. So I do think it's an important thing for us to discuss as a board, for us to pay attention to and for us to take our own individual action. I appreciate, Mary Jo has been providing us with some really good information.
I do have a
did.
frequently asked question sheet that's, has some of the information I have in this board pack, but it's something that we have available on our website.
And you sent us the piece about the attorneys general's suite.
Yeah, it's.
That's separate, we did get that.
There were a lot of signs at the rallies about supporting libraries, so you
Yeah.
should feel good about that.
Well, yeah, the public seems to have some awareness. Of course, there's so many things, as you just said, there's so many things.
Yes.
Yeah, to speak about.
Thank you.
Hillary doesn't need one, she helped write it.
I think I might also mention that Mary Jo and I have already started briefly speaking about strategies for our own spending, especially as Mary Jo is going to be starting to work on the budget for the new fiscal year. And any lack of funding would show up in that fiscal year. So we've already started discussing how to prioritize databases that we maybe won't have access to in the future. What we can do as far as that goes. But because everything is so up in the air, there's really, it's just
Hard to plan right
it's
now.
hard to
Yeah, it's hard to make plans, when it's all up in the air, but, we do need to, regardless of what happens, we need to make people know, the public know what they're missing, you know, what there would be, and it's not, you know, people who have tremendous means probably won't be missing a whole lot, but it's the basic public that you're serving that do need some things, and when Mary Jo's talking about just people how to, I mean, everybody says, well, you should go out and get a job and support yourself, well, some people don't have the background how to even present themselves on paper in a resume or whatever. There's so many things that we provide that maybe people don't understand, but yeah, thank you.
And these are these databases, you know, not everything is on Google, and these databases are an example of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And of it is behind the paywall.
Yeah,
And if for it to be reliable information, and for you to have a little background on how to use it, because people are going Google, but then you might come up against a brick wall that you don't know how to go further in it, or it's just not offered there, so. Librarians, the human beings that are helping to back up the databases are really valuable as well.
When you get into paying for things, people that they used to get for free,
Yeah.
you get into these scam things too, with people
Mhm.
who don't know
Right.
a lot about
Oh, yeah.
computers.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big problem.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
we had even in between meetings and when this came up and when Mary Jo has sent us texts, emails and informational things, we've been having some discussions among ourselves. I know you had raised some questions, Dan, and asked about making sure we had materials and a better understanding of all of this.
Well, just reading kind of the last paragraph down here, my thought was if there is a timeline when we would hear something, but it doesn't really look like.
right now
We have
right now, we don't have a time.
no
Yeah.
timeline whatsoever for any of that to be.
And, you know, I was gratified when I saw in that last line, the state attorneys general has, our state attorney general, along with others, have filed a request for emergency restraining order, but when you know that in so many other areas, the public has gone to the courts and the courts are acting as they should, but
It's a long process.
and the government is not even being
This takes
responsive
time.
to our own court system, so. This is a difficult time and it's really hard to figure out what's gonna happen here.
When this happens, people look to institutions like the library for help, for information, and still want it to be there in some way. So if there's anything you can do to assist you.
Yes, no. Thank you.
Well, and some of the advocacy suggestions that we're getting from these materials are one of the things we can do, and I think Joy talked about it a little bit, you know, that there's stuff we can do and resources to help us do it better.
And maybe allay some of the public's fears in some way. I don't know what that would look like. But, you know, that there'll still be things available, still be help, so.
Yeah.
Something
It's
like
just
that,
we-
yeah.
Yeah, there's just things that we won't be
Yeah.
able to do. Well, thank you. Now there's.
Anyhow, let me go from bad, that was the bad news. Let's go,
Okay.
let's have some good news.
Right.
Happy National Library Week. This week is National Library Week, so we have a lot of pop-up programming and activities at our library this week in honor of National Library Week. We would not be a library if we did not pass out bookmarks, so.
All right.
Cute, cute, cute.
I was gonna give. I keep them all, you keep taking care of me.
Yeah.
You don't wanna lose your spot.
So we have a dress like a book character day coming up. We had a quiet reading book club yesterday.
I thought that was so cute.
Yesterday, so that was our kickoff this year.
And how
It
was
was hard, we hardly advertised it at all. We took the quick pop-up program, and we had 4 people, so we're thinking we can really grow that.
When you say pop-up program,
Quick, like, just, we didn't plan it.
you just
out in advance
do
of
it,
that.
and so if people are here.
Well, we
they'll-
publicized, but we didn't have a lot of time to publicize.
It's
Yeah.
quick, it's a quick
Yeah.
turnaround program.
Yeah.
So for this one, just as an example, how quick did you think it up?
Well, about a week ago.
We
We've been thinking about doing it.
We got the flyer on the website on Monday last week and flyers that crafted on Wednesday.
And I got it into the Independent very, very quickly,
Yeah.
scan it.
Oh, there you go.
So basically a week.
Yeah.
So, but the quiet reading book club, are we gonna do it every,
Yeah.
It was actually it was a demographic you don't get very frequently. I think I was the oldest person in the room.
Uh-huh.
There was the people who came, everybody just sat in this room and read for an
Uh-huh.
hour, and then we talked for about 10 minutes afterwards about what they want to do in the future. Everybody was enthusiastic.
Uh-huh.
It was nice.
The idea of just sitting, you know, I mean, obviously I participate in one of our book clubs and we come here and yam, or talk.
You couldn't do it.
Oh.
Put the tape on. I love you.
You're probably right. I think it'd be
I
worth.
don't know if I could do it either.
I probably would be worth it to see if, to test myself. And then somebody, the librarians would have to kick me out.
So we're having a love curious. So we're having I Love My Library story time. We have a drop-in book page craft. We are doing a program with the museum that's going to be at the museum on Saturday at 6 o'clock. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and let the program presenter talk about it.
I've had this program in my ideas book. Yes, I do have an ideas book. It sits at my desk. For a while, doing, some things for the museum, when they were closed. I found a letter from a Civil War soldier. Thought it was really cool. Wouldn't it be cool just to have a program where we read just letters? So I talked to Mary over at the museum. She let me hang out in the archive for half the day. And I found some really cool letters. So we're just going to read letters. Maybe a local history thrown in there, just a little bit, because I just want the focus to be on the letters. And then after the program, we're gonna write letters ourselves. So I'm gonna have stationery and pens, and I've hopefully gonna have some like fountain pens and some pens that they would have used during the time period that I'm looking at. And the oldest letter I've got to read is from 1894. And then I've got some really juicy ones between Fred C. Fisher and his wife when they were dating, and then his wife and her friend out in Colorado. Oh, they are entertaining. Me and Hillary have been enjoying. I've got a whole 2 archive boxes full of letters downstairs on my desk right now. I spent last week sorting them. This week it's all putting it together and transcribing, because it's all in cursive and really rough cursive. So yeah, so if you guys can come, it was just a quick thing. Mary just happened to have she's gonna open the museum late on Saturday, because we have something booked in COZAD, so we're gonna do it in-house. And yeah, it's gonna be a good day.
After hours.
Fascinating topic. Isn't it? It's gonna be really cool. These letters are really neat, and I plan on having a screen, because Mary's got a screen over there, and showing the letters, because the handwriting is just as beautiful as the letters themselves. So
We've really come to love some of our people who are writing the letters. I want to be friends with Mrs. Fisher's friend in Colorado. She's great.
I've fallen in love with Keith.
To
Yeah, it's another local family that it's a collection of letters that they just donated to the archives. But Keith it's during World War II, and he's stationed all over the place over the United States. So he's got some really interesting, him and his newborn and wife are just going place to place to place. So it's really cool. It's gonna be a really fun program. And I'll probably do it again, because there's a lot of letters.
You know, and to think that they probably never could imagine someone would be reading those letters
them
in 2025.
in 2025. Yeah, which is,
But
why.
they donated them so that, I guess they
Yeah.
might have had a hope that maybe they'd have a value in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, we only see one-sided, and it's fun to talk about how useful letters can be, because you get local history news talking about like one of the mills burning down. You've got world, you've got local, you've got United States, wartime. I mean, you got a lot of how they're feeling about things, and so it's gonna be. It was a lot of weather updates, but a lot of weather updates, but
That's what we were writing each other about today. And the weather, it's still cold.
Yeah, so it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited about this. It was like Mary Jo said, it was just a pop-up. It's not an easy project, because there was a lot of letters to read, but it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really fun. So I hope you guys can come.
So
Saturday at six. Free, the friends, have
Another chance for your.
yeah, there you go, Linda. The friends, Elaine told me, I knew it was last minute, so it was a hope, but Elaine talked to me today. Elaine's gonna come. I was hoping that the friends could help with handing out stationery and stuff, just to get them a little bit more involved, just to try to include them a little bit more. So yeah, that's what we got. It'll be fun.
So, and then in addition to being a historian, I've discovered that Nikki is an artist, so if you look in my director's report, I have a
That's very
picture
cute.
of the
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
It's so-
Front doors at the Sumter Media Center with her hours and our spring flowers, so.
And she's got a little story on here, Mary
I've
Jo
got
gave us a
story to
little
tell
story.
you,
in the
yeah.
class
Yeah, it's
about
cool.
how it attracted people to the library. We got a new library
So they,
because of your
they
artwork.
saw that artwork and wanted to
That
see
is
what it was
good.
all about.
Same day, I think, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Same
okay,
day.
it caused them to come in.
So that means on the librarian's art display. Nikki,
Yeah, I'm working on it.
How is attendance at the, I shouldn't say attendance,
Sumter,
visiting?
It's about the same,
About the
kind of
same.
leveled off, yeah. So,
isn't it on here though?
I don't have it broken out in here. But the last time I looked at it.
She does it
I
like
do it from
once
time
a
to time.
Yeah, I knew she wanted. But it's kind of staying the same.
Yeah, but I just loved how the simple thing, having some bright signage on the door really like help
Mhm.
help
Yeah.
drive some
Yeah.
business.
It
so,
really,
yeah.
it really did work, because when I was leaving, I turned and then I looked back, I'm like, holy cow, that's bright. Now, like, that's awesome, you can see it from the road.
Yeah, well, we have been discussing the difficulty in people recognizing that it's there and that our signage might need to be, maybe you need to just go paint over our sign and put some flowers. in it.
You just
But
see a
Whatever
little
the
kid,
boss tells me.
you see a little kid going down the road with their parents going, what's
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened, it was a mom and a couple of kids, they always truck it all the way out here, so they said that we had no idea, and then we told them they could get, their holds there, and they don't have to drive all the way into town, and
Yeah.
so they got really excited that they could use, computers, and so.
Yeah, that's been the challenge. It's another thing for outreach has been, we opened the Sumter Media Center as part of the overall district library agreement that the community put together for us to have a district library. And so we had to have because this area is pretty large and Sumter, Sumter is remote and the community feels remote. Anyway, we've provided materials that we've gotten a lot of appreciation for, but we also recognize a lot of people don't know it's there. And when we have challenges getting people to come into this building here, I mean, imagine that's just this little building, and it's kind of way back in a parking lot down there. And so just getting people aware that it's there and what's in it has been a challenge.
So now apparently it's what's gonna happen every few seasons or months, so I'll paint it again for summer and.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah, I'll keep it going. If it's gonna bring people in, then I'll go down there every few, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
and
and
change
it would liven up the building and make people realize it's not.
There's something going on.
Yeah, it's because they used to have public works in there, is that what it was?
Yeah.
that we went
For the
there?
what?
Yeah,
It is the one.
it was, and so you pass by and say that was,
Sure.
yeah.
They're getting a new, township manager. They're
And so-
probably talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already been hired, but I think, wasn't there a problem with having that sign facing so you could read it?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't
So
read it.
maybe with the new township manager.
Maybe we could, there'd
talk
be
to
an
him.
intro. Mary Jo and I have been talking about getting down there.
We're just like augmenting it somehow so that you can see it, yeah.
See it
So
from
to
the
be
road.
more noticeable.
While you're
Right.
driving.
Yeah, because when you drive by, you can't, you
I drove by that place twice, just like it. Honestly, it was the sign, was it?
Was it facing the road?
No,
I mean, where you're gonna
Right.
see it.
yeah.
yeah.
That was a building committee thing, I think, or maybe it
I
was
suppose.
Karen Armada's, I can't remember anymore.
How that sign
How
got to
he
be where,
chose
Yeah, I think they.
I think they did.
Yeah.
They wanted it, it was their thing, they want, but,
We could have fought it.
oh, we didn't fight it.
No, we didn't fight it.
Karen's gone.
She is?
She was deputy clerk and they hired a new clerk.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh my God.
He's gone from
Yeah.
the. Already got one dead.
But she's not working for the town.
No, she didn't.
Huh?
Like maybe one that faces
That's
the street.
Perhaps we can try.
Big change.
I mean, we
We've
don't
done
need
some
it,
things.
we don't need it on our door, but
Yeah.
I think something that faces this street or this street would be awesome.
Listen, Dan, there's only a few hours in the day, sir.
I'm just throwing it out there. We
Those are
wanna promote ourselves.
tinted like ours here. Cause that comes through
There?
really well, yeah,
No, I don't think so.
okay. Part of our problem here, our windows are.
Ours,
tinted,
they
so-
are
Oh,
purposely.
Yeah,
tinted
it's
so
really
they
hard,
look
cause I did
black.
do the
Yeah.
windows downstairs for, the holiday season. I
oh,
did,
yeah. I remember.
Yeah, we
it was
painted.
really hard to see on the outside unless it was night. Cause the light shines through on the other side.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's
Just a
doable.
thought.
I know.
Yeah.
Just
I'll
a
put it in
thought.
my, I'll put it in my idea.
And you're not doing anything.
Well, and then we have to make sure that we don't have hidden talents among others of our library staff. Since Nikki didn't really get hired to be the IP doors person.
Our official door painter.
Other duties, as I said. Let's see, it's also April, we're holding a poetry contest at the library during the month of April, so we've got that going on. Still hoping for spring, so we have Grow Great Vegetables on Wednesday, April 16th, Kevin Cohen. I believe he's been here before, he's really good.
Is it?
Yeah. And our annual perennial plant swap on Saturday, May 3rd at noon.
Bevan Cohen, I just saw them talk about him in the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Catalog.
Oh, really?
From Missouri, so he must be a nationwide
Wow.
name, but he is from Michigan.
Yeah. And of course, classic movies. We're having our last one for the season, April 10th at 6:30. Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
So who's French, who can pronounce the French word correctly?
Cherbourg?
Cherbourg. I'm always playing the pronunciation. Well, maybe I better, well, I just haven't been able to participate. Many things that I use. Better get on the stick. This is the last one. Well, as usual, the director's report is full of information. Most of it good information and, most of it good news and good information even about the bad. April 10th is tomorrow. Yeah.
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the other thing. Yeah. I was looking at the little pieces here, it's like I'm gonna go read. Okey dokey, I believe that's our director's report. Anybody else have any questions for Mary Jo? Well, then it's time for our trustees to talk, yakety yak. As it's been pointed out, I've been talking quite a bit. So, who would like to start today? Joy.
I've been voluntold.
Yes, I can get you back.
Well, I am happy with all of Mary Jo sharing information about IMLS and how that's affecting us, because I think that's a big, huge deal. I am starting to become more like my 10 years ago self. I'm officially subbing at the library, so I'm not totally.
Subbing at the Washington Library?
No, at the Ipsy Library, so.
Oh, are you?
Just here and there.
So you go in
yeah,
every now and
Yeah,
then.
so
keeping back your trip.
Is it
2 weeks.
and the Ipsy Library's open?
No, you mean the downtown? No, downtown's still not open.
Well, what?
Still
but
not
you're
open.
doing the.
I'm
one
just-
On.
I'm an official Ipsy Library sub,
Ah.
so I'm still in the library land, but just as I want to,
Uh,
not in an overwhelming way.
uh,
So, I hope to be more involved as a board member than I have been for probably the last 4 years.
Yeah, but just like through the discussion tonight, your knowledge of the industry, for lack of a better word, what to call about libraries, has been so helpful to all of us, and continues to be. So we are anxious for you to be able to have more time and to be able to help us to understand what we're doing. We thank you so much. And I'm so glad you're retired. I just, we can see it. Plus, you got those glasses. They're just wonderful. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll just say there was a lot of support at our rally last Saturday for libraries, lots of signs supporting the library. So we should feel good about that.
Good, that's good to know. And again, thank you for what you're doing,
Yeah,
for
I
your
will be
role in
there.
helping with that.
We were
Okay.
there, we were there early enough to take a video. of Long
People on the
line of
street.
people during, yep,
Mhm.
Cool.
yeah.
Fabulous. And that it happened all over the country.
Yeah, it's good.
All over Michigan. It's wonderful. Holland, Michigan, for heaven's sake.
Wow, West Side.
West Side, and I think the most Republican county, Ottawa County is the most Republican county in the state, years, forever. So it's interesting.
Republicans have lots of investments that they are losing money on.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
well,
I'm not just them.
and then just a lot of things. Well, Tanya, what you got to say?
Excited Mary Jo is gonna get her new accounting software.
You could be excited.
Right, through the times.
Excited about
Not diamonds or anything.
We can maybe budget a little bit. We're looking at, maybe kind of aligning our revenues and the budget to when they actually come in and.
She's excited, that's right. You're so smart, she gets excited about the things that none of us understand. Thank you, and thank you for being able to give us your attention with all the things that you juggle in your work life. Marie.
Wish I had, exciting things going on, like, new software. So, I know, I'm excited about the changing of the weather, even though we don't feel it as of yet. Just excited to be outside a little bit more, be able to, just be out among people.
Be able to see people and see your neighbors even, I live in
Yeah.
condos, so we're real close to all our neighbors, which in the winter, you see people go in their garages, close their garage door, and you
Yeah.
can see each other.
There's no ice on the sidewalks anymore. That's when you're old, that's a big deal.
Very big.
No, it is, but we were spoiled a little bit with this good weather, and then
Yeah.
the 2-degree weather just hit my home.
Yeah, for what it does to your joints.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not the greatest thing. Well, thank you.
I don't have any real news. I mean, I kind of echo what Maria's saying. I'm anticipating some nice weather.
Yeah.
I did have to stop for a minute. It was nice to come up here and actually still be able to see outdoors.
Mhm.
So the days are getting longer.
It's Tiger's opening day.
In the Tigers opening
So that's
day.
cool. I always know that spring's here then.
And I mean, I did have to have a little bit of a joke because I just came back from Florida
Oh.
2 days ago and come back to this. So it's-
Well, at least you remember what warmth feels like.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
How long were you gone?
10 days.
Oh,
Fort
boy.
Myers. Yeah,
Nice,
Fort Myers.
so pretty down there.
Mhm.
It was very nice. So that's really all I
Well, I want to say, when I came in the library tonight, Dan was checking things. Dan might be one of our best library users of that,
I definitely use.
online and all kinds of things and.
Yeah, he was going to his car. I'm like, you leaving already? I'll just put something in my car.
Appreciate that. Then I'm the last one to talk, and I just wanna express my appreciation to our library staff for staying on top of this. We have had a lot of challenges here and a lot of little extra things that have come on us. And for Mary Jo, Hillary, and the entire staff to stay on top of all of this and keep us informed in a way that we can digest what's going on and understand and utilize all of us in the way, they reach out to the right people and I guess that's an appreciation of the entire team, how we've been working. So I think things have been going well in that regard. It's not like we don't have big challenges in front of us, but I'm pleased that we have the relationships and the talent to meet the job at hand. So I appreciate that. And now Dan might have something else to say.
Madam Chair, I propose that we adjourn this meeting.
It has been moved
I'll second it.
and it's seconded. Dan, moved by Dan. I don't know if we have to have a second for an adjournment, but we
I'll do
have many, we have several people that will second that this meeting is adjourned.